Hey everyone, part 4 of the mini-series called Unlocking Webex CCE T-Tech Digital. Just a quick reminder for who I am. My name is Nathan Galloway, and I am the Chief Architect of T-Tech Digital's Cisco practice. Okay, so I've got 3 topics for you today. A quick reminder of our simplified architecture, what we went into in part 3 of this, and I'll talk you through what that means here in a second if you didn't catch that video, but if it might not make total sense, so you might want to go back and catch that one, and then to the real meat of what we're getting into today, which is why mobile agent. A lot of people who are Cisco customers have seen the ease in which phones registered directly to the system can help bridge gaps and provide capability. So, why are we moving in a different direction? And ultimately, how will it enable even more capability? A lot to dive into here. And I talked about earlier, you might not agree or disagree with everything. This could certainly be one of those things, but I'm going to make a case for it, and maybe you will agree with me. The final part of this is I just want to do a brief demo combining parts 2 and 3 with this part to kind of show you what, again, we're focused on creating better customer and agent experiences, right? So we're trying to take ourselves out of the fact that you might be like me and have 20 years of knowledge on this system. And largely today what I'm doing is kind of eliminating UC from our periphery, right? I was a UC solution architect. I know how to configure those systems, but I have to get myself into spending more time in the places that are truly critical to our business, and this is just not one of them anymore. So with that, we'll kind of combine those things, and again, I'll show you what that looks like from the agent's view and how easy it's becoming. So let's jump in. If you saw part 3, you kind of saw me end on this slide here, where it still looked like a lot, but the point that I was making is that I'm managing my dial plan through the contact center. I'm not creating extra overhead with all this, let's say, unified communications configuration. And the point behind these being in different colors was really that I didn't have to worry about them anymore. They all were getting set up for me. I just don't need to touch that layer. And so what I'm going to do in this section is show you your new architecture. And so if you are a Webex Contact Center enterprise and this is the world in which you see your contact center, now you're starting to understand that this is looking a lot more like a contact center cloud, and the features of Cisco now can come to light with the openness and the flexibility. You're not bogged down into, oh, I've got all these other things to worry about that I don't have to. So comment here being, let the Cisco and/or partner handle the when I said phones, it probably mean your voice side of the house. Simplify it down to, look, here's my CC voice. Now I'm concerned with the parts in the gray. This is and now somebody else might manage your enterprise UC or PBX. But I'm saying these are things that fall out to you, your contact center components and your enterprise UC. Meanwhile, this layer is kind of sitting in the middle here. Now, in a later section, we're going to talk what can we do at the PSTN edge, and we'll see some T-Tech digital value add there. But today we're going to just focus on the phones that come into here and how I really think that mobile agent can help us drive towards simpler, better, easier solutions at this layer. So let's get to it. Why mobile agent? Well, I've said this a couple times already, but on other CC platforms, mobile agent is just called agent. You just don't have that option of directly registering a hard phone anymore with these modern contact center products. Again, just doesn't exist. Meanwhile, we still continue with that option on Cisco, and the point here being, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. And I'll take that point one step further in saying that later this year we already know Cisco's going to be releasing their own WebRTC that will bring this same architecture right to the forefront. So when you head down this path, I'm kind of getting you there early if you're planning to use Cisco's WebRTC, but it's going to happen, and I think that the folks really should understand that we need to if we can start looking at mobile agent as just agent, it'll make things much easier. And for that, let's go to I'm not saying that you can't still directly register phones. It's obviously a capability of the product. But what I want you to do is consider the impact when you do that. So now, if I have both a mobile agent flow as well as this kind of traditional method of registering our devices directly into the environment, now every call flow I have involving an agent device, it's going to have to be tested twice. You naturally will have a risk of reliance on features that are not supported with mobile agent. So for me, I turn off built-in bridge on my UC side. I don't want to even consider it as an option because I know it's not something that my mobile agent supports. So again, kind of getting us to a place of why do this other way whenever you're probably going to find a need to do it this way. And then, again, once we start registering, physical phones, jabbers to our contact center, you're basically putting UC in the CCE cloud at that point. And I've seen this with most customers. They have to go spend 4 months of their project implementing, E911, testing that out. Meanwhile, you probably already have this on your enterprise PBX, so why not just leave the phone on your enterprise PBX if that's what you want? Maybe you're moving towards WebRTC, that's great as well. But so you can reduce that time that you need to implement and hopefully not even have to implement it at all when you're following this approach. And then lastly, the mobile agent architecture allows you to support any phone with just a simple outbound trunk. So if I go off and look at Cisco's documentation today, I don't see anywhere where it says contact center enterprise can do these things, and that's because it's not necessarily advocating or pushing the envelope on. Well, actually, if you go dig through the mobile agent features guide, it is kind of in there to an extent, right? But this is what I want, right? Rather than I have my WebRTC here. Maybe you're a Microsoft Teams customer. Maybe you have people who just want to sign in on their cell phone. I don't know. You have those options. Now, from a hard phone, soft phone perspective, where we historically have registered directly in here, I'll tell you the option I'm taking 100% of the time. I am going to move my UC to Webex calling. That is a hyperscale, everything that people kind of define as pure cloud today. You get all of that there, super easy to use. And again, I've got 7960s or whatever, right? Sitting out there, and people use them and people like them, and I want to keep that investment. Great, you can register them directly to Webex calling, and really kind of get yourself in a more modern architecture. And again, that will help you easily fix the UC side. Very easy to get UC running and E911 compliance and get your phone numbers moved over there. Like, you can do all of that very easily from a UC side with Webex calling. And then again, all that we need to do anything here is a simple outbound trunk, and the reason for that is mobile agent will only ever dial out to these phones. Now, you could have want to make some of these two ways in that maybe your enterprise PBX users want to dial the actual agent extension rather than their device. I mean, there's a couple different ways to skin that cat. But you could have them direct dial. So these could be two-way, but I'm saying from the standpoint of the contact center, really all we need is an outbound SIP trunk to make this work. Okay, so let's quickly demo mobile agent real quick. And I want to show you again, we covered this in kind of part 2, but with our architecture now set up to do all of this stuff, this is what we deal with. And again, in part 3, I really talked to, I don't necessarily use or log into these CC voice components. They just kind of sit there and do what they're supposed to do, which is great for me. So a quick reminder, we had our sign-in helper here, which I could use browser, hard phone, soft phone, mobile phone, other. Really, these are the two that deal with our mobile agent approaches. So maybe this is your Microsoft Teams. Long story short, you've got a port that's assigned to each agent. Each agent should only ever have one extension or one port, and then they have whatever number that they're going to be dialing. When I go to log in, let's jump back here. I go through my SSO sequence. I'm already signed in, and it logs me in. That's it. There's no more complexity. If you ask me, we've actually even made it simpler than the traditional sign-in, because they're not having to click buttons inside the sign-in. They've got just that extension that runs once, and now I'm in, and it doesn't operate any differently from, again, the agent perspective than a normal, we'll call it normal, let's use the word traditional or legacy agent at this point. Okay, that's all for today. Hope you now see where we're kind of going with simplifying that UC architecture. We've kind of taken that out of our fold. Now we can bring in whatever PBX we want or use whatever phone we want. We only have one way of our call flows actually working, right? So we're not doubling down on all the testing that has to happen. It's becoming very, very simple for our enterprise, and we're getting more flexible options. In a later section of this, I'm going to tie the final part of UC down, where we talk WebRTC and PSTN and what we can do there. And that might actually come in a later, not necessarily the next exact section. I think we're going to jump into some actual CC stuff, but you're well on your way to simplifying what I'm calling kind of the SIP architecture of the platform. Thank you for watching.